Taking us on a fashion journey, today I'm chatting with Lache Segal. She is a Cape Town-based designer and also has a heart of gold. Now, you know, choosing to be an entrepreneur not only comes with its challenges, but it also comes with its celebratory highlights. So let's find out where her journey began. So let's start right at the beginning. Where did your love for fashion begin?
It really started as far back as I can remember. I remember being really young and watching the TV in the morning. I don't know what program it was, but they would always have these runway shows. And I would watch it religiously every morning, and afterwards I would pretend I'm one of the models and I walk down the passage. But I was always just so intrigued with the clothing coming down the runway.
So then when you started getting a little bit older and you figured, okay, this is something I can actually, you know, get into as a full-time profession, when was that moment for you?
Probably sometime in high school. I just always found myself doing some sort of fashion show or someone was asking me to make something, and just kind of naturally progressed into this is going to be my career one day.
And then when you finally began this journey, obviously it wasn't like paved with sunshine and roses. I'm sure there were a couple of obstacles that came your way. What were the kinds of things that you had to deal with to actually climb over to get to where you want to be?
Well, I guess it starts with applying to a university to study fashion design. The whole application process, it's a nightmare.
Why was it a nightmare?
It's just when you're in high school, and I haven't had formal art training from a very young age. So it started much later when a few of us at school decided, okay, we want a career in something creative, so we have to go outside of our school. I think it's a big problem probably in most coloured schools where things like art and, you know, things like that aren't offered because there aren't finances for it. So having the school actually find another school for us to place us in, so that obviously happened much later in our high school career. So obviously wasn't as developed in my skill as everyone else applying. Anyway, I made it through, and then actually realizing how expensive it was. I was really lucky. My parents never made it my problem, but obviously as a child you kind of know, like, okay. And then trying to get a bursary, luckily I was successful with that. That was one headache off me. And then paying for my own fourth year because that wasn't covered by the bursary. So all of those were little struggles that helped me kind of manage the bigger struggles in my career better. It was almost growing as a person in those struggles, which helped me later on. And then finding a job. So starting out with an internship that paid very, very little, working my
behind off. It's fine. It's
6 months for absolutely nothing. But luckily that opened up a bigger door for me. And then getting into corporate retail buying came with a whole lot of other challenges. It's been challenge after challenge after challenge, but all worth it.
So just take a couple of steps back, because I know you were talking about how you managed to get yourself into corporate retail fashion, and obviously I'm sure that must have been just a ball game on its own, because corporate is very different. But like, how would you keep yourself motivated every day? Because to be so dream focused on one thing and say to yourself, you know what, this is what I want to do. This is where I need to be. And I'm going to have to do certain things to get there. It's not easy because you can get so quickly sucked into the world, and you can allow it to change you in ways you don't want it to change you. So how do you remain focused on your dream, you know?
So, I mean, I have to admit that I did lose focus of the dream for a while I was in corporate.
Why is that?
Well, I think you grow up and you have this dream, and then you become older and you realize there's bills to pay and things like that. So the dream kind of gets to the back, and you focus more on
priorities.
Where am I going to get money from? What's going to pay better? You know. So you kind of, I was just like, okay, having your own label, being a designer needs to go and hold. You need to go where you're going to get a good paycheck and stable job, you know, with the pension and the medical aid and all of those things. So that's what I did for about 3.5 years. But it was always at the back of my head that this is not what I want to do.
So, okay, so you did what you did. You had that part of your journey, and then you decided to take the risk. And then when exactly did the brand sort of come into play? Where did you always known it was going to be LACHET Clothing? Did you always know it was going to be a certain kind of look that you're going for with women? Where did all those ideas come from?
So the name, that was kind of a debate when I was young. I was always like, oh, my parents gave me the perfect name for a clothing line. It sounds French, like I would name it Lache. But when the actual time came, I just felt giving it my own name was just a bit too personal for me. Like I wanted it to have that certain level of separation between the brand and who I am. So I went for the next best thing, which is my nickname, which is Lachet, which is literally just my name with a T at the end.
Why was that your nickname?
There are arguments about who gave it to me amongst the friends, but it somehow came up. I was probably maybe 13 or 14, and it just kind of stuck. More people call me that than they do Lache.
That is so funny. Like Lachet. Hey, Lachet!
That was like the next best thing. Yeah, I don't know how the actual nickname came up.
But then it worked for you. And also, by calling it Lachet instead of Lache, giving it its own brand identity as well, to separate it. Sometimes you do need to do that to actually put it there and put it on its own pedestal and its own. And it's a good thing, you know? Okay, so in terms of the actual line itself, what did you start out with when it came to the ideas for the design of the clothing? Because some stuff is like over-the-top glam, some stuff is very casual, some stuff is streetwear, some stuff it's like you don't really know what the design is trying to do, and you're kind of like, what is this? So what did you decide to do initially, and did it transform as you kept working the brand all the time?
So the thing is, with the way I started, remember there was never really a plan to start. It kind of just happened. So it wasn't like I sat and was like, okay, I'm going to put together a range, and in 6 months' time, I'm going to launch, and this is what is going to happen. The time I decided to have a brand, I was already 6 months without a job. So I was just like, I need to make money.
Yeah, very important.
So it kind of just happened where friends were coming to me, asking me to make things. I was making it. So that was getting an income in. So that's where the custom side of my business came about.
Yes, okay.
Which I ended about a few months ago, but that was a big part of the business for the past few years. And then the brand stuff kind of just watered down from what I saw a lot of people were asking me for. It was a lot of your everyday, comfortable, versatile clothing.
And not the stuff that makes you feel like you got a corset on and you can't breathe. And I like that. I like that very much.
Like leggings are one of my biggest sellers from the start till now. But it's the thing about putting a lot of time into getting a good fit, good fabric, making you feel comfortable. It's not a pair of leggings and you put in and be like, oh, I can't breathe and I can't move. And so that's kind of how the brand found its look. It was kind of always limited until very recently. I felt the need to almost put it in a box. I feel like you have to say, okay, I do streetwear, or I do formal wear, or whatever. I have decided to let go of all labels. I used to say I was a sophisticated streetwear, because that was kind of the only way I could describe it. But I think because fashion is such a personal thing, to me it feels wrong to say, okay, you have to wear it in this context. So
for yourself, I mean, you have very different lines for like for women and for men, and you cater for, like you said, it's not in a box. It's for anyone and everyone. And is this the place where you want to be with your brand? Or do you see yourself kind of like progressing in the next 5 years to something else? Or do you feel that the progression is enough where you're at right now?
So I've kind of learned not to set my sights too firmly on one thing, because things tend to change, and I want to be open to that. I feel like over the past few years, just being open to things, I've led to so many different experiences and so much growth in terms of my brand. But I would, at some point, like my brand to be more sustainable in terms of eco-friendly stuff like that. I've never been a person for fast fashion. So even growing up, I would keep a top from when I was 4 and I would be wearing it when I was 10. Like I never believed in just buying something to be part of a trend, stuff like that. So my brand has always been something that's not trend driven. So I'll maintain that, but I wanted to get to the point where the actual fabric I'm using or the way I'm producing is more sustainable and eco-friendly.
I like that.
So that's like my big goal for the next 5 years.
I think I'm going to kind of like branch out from all of this. I'm going to ask you the typical fashion questions. You're probably going,
What is it?
I'm going to do it. Okay, how would you define style?
Oh, gosh.
And how would you define style and fashion? Do you think that there is an actual definition for it?
I don't. A lot of people will tell you style is something personal and comes from within. No, fashion is dictated by the masses, and I just go with whatever feels best for you. Even I do styling as well. And even with that, I'll never tell my clients, you need to wear this with this. Like, I want to sit down with you, I want to know who you are, and then you dress according to who you are. It's a great time to be able to like wear clothing and dress and just use it as a way to express yourself.
So in ending, I think it would be nice to find it from you as an entrepreneur. What kind of advice would you give for somebody who either wants to get into the fashion industry or somebody who just wants to be an entrepreneur in whatever field they choose? What would you say?
Okay, so if talking to someone directly who wants to be in the fashion industry, a lot of people think it's really easy and it's as simple as going and finding good fabric and making a style that you like. I would suggest you actually get a little bit of background, actual education and knowledge based around it. It will help you with negotiating prices with your CMTs. It will help you with actual construction and design. It's not as easy as just like, oh, this fabric, this design. And it'll put you a little bit ahead of everyone else as well. In terms of just general entrepreneurship, the beginning is going to be hard.
Yes.
It's going to be very hard.
Preach it, sister, preach it. Say for the mense, asseblief.
You're not going to be a millionaire in the first month. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You're going to have to make sacrifices. If it's not something you're very passionate about, don't do it. It takes time to build a business and a brand, but definitely give it a shot. The worst thing that can happen is that it fails. You've learned what you learned and you apply it to your next job or your next business.
And that's not so bad.
Yeah.
So, okay, if we want to get a hold of you, how do we do so?
Okay, so the best way would probably be via email or Instagram. Email would be LACHET, LACHET, at outlook.com. What I'm going to be changing into a proper email address sometime soon. Or Instagram, which is LACHET_clothing. And for those who only have Facebook, it's LACHET CPT.
There you go. All right, awesome. Thank you so much.